Cumitas.
Here.
Reynolds.
Here.
Landers.
Yes.
Haas. Schrader. Espinosa. Rapp.
Yes.
Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we have a motion for approval of the regular meeting agenda.
I'll make a motion for approval of the regular meeting agenda.
Second? Roll call.
Rapp.
Yes.
Haas. Landers.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
Cumitas.
Yes. Alright, do we have any visitors or opportunity for public comment this evening? Alright, moving on, could we have a motion for approval of consent agenda?
Motion to approve the consent agenda as presented. 5.1 disposition of minutes for December 2025. 5.2 payment of bills. 5.3 district treasurer's report. 5.4 request and activity fund report, tier report. 5.5 personnel report.
Second.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Reynolds.
Yes.
Landers.
Yes.
Cumitas.
Yes.
Haas.
Yes.
Rapp.
Yes.
Any FOIA requests?
Several actually. We had a couple from Illinois Valley Times, and then we had our usual annual one from the Illinois Retired Teachers Association, so they can get, yep, better members.
Okay. Administrator reports.
Yeah, I had sent something out. We are still kind of back and forthing with the city and their attorney on getting a document drafted on the tennis courts, and so hopefully have something for you to look at from there.
And our special?
Yeah, so fortunate enough in our rotation, remember that we start our building tours next month, and so next month we're over at Lincoln. Fortunate to have our Director of Student Services here, and very fortunate to have Kara Rutherford on board with us. She was our release coordinator for years. How many? 3, Kara?
3.
And so it was great because we got to, without kind of even realizing how it was going to unfold, we really kind of got to know each other before she decided to actually come work for us. And so we're super happy to have her on board, and she's going to tell you a little bit about herself and some of the things that are going on. So,
Awesome.
yeah.
Welcome.
Take it easy on me. I'm nervous.
You'll be fine.
Don't be.
He always says that. So sorry, it's like behind your head, but, just because I'm new and I haven't met you guys yet, I did do a little bit about me. So, in 2012, I graduated with my bachelor's in special ed. 2018, I got my master's in educational leadership. And then I think it was 2021, I finished the additional courses for my director of special ed. So I spent 6 years in the teaching role, and then 6 years in admin, so this is my 7th year in admin. My passions, I guess, if you want to call them that, they evolve around my kids. We have a pool at home, so during the summers I like to relax. Otherwise, we have many different sporting events for my 2 younger boys, and then my daughter shows horses and races them, so in the summer is our busiest time with a lot of county fairs. So here's just some pictures of me and my family, and my 2 oldest, I have a son that's 19, and then my daughter is 19. And then my 2 boys are 10 and 11. So we do soccer and wrestling. There's Jasper the horse. She just bought a dog last weekend and brought it home, so she has a farm. Not really, but she does have a farm. 2 guineas, we come in 2s. So 2 guineas, 2 cats, 2 dogs, now 3, so just keep adding. My husband's worked for LaSalle County Sheriff's Department for 22 years, so we're tied to the LaSalle County quite a bit. So here are some of our continuum of special education. We did update. So in our pre-K we have 3 programs, right? Our developmental program. For our students with disabilities, we have our PFA program, our Preschool for All, and then our PFA ELL program. They run 2 sessions, an AM and PM. For our developmental enrollment, we have 17 kiddos With IEPs, we have, I wrote it down, we have 7 in the morning and 7 in the afternoon, and then we have 3 starting hopefully next week. So that'll bring us up to 17. The 2 PFA kiddos are in the morning, and then, we actually have 6. We just moved 1 over from the developmental, so there's actually 6 instead of 5 in that PFA ELL program, 3 in the morning and 3 in the afternoon. At Blackstone, we did a little bit of restructuring, so we only have the 2 resource classrooms at the moment. We have 10 students in kindergarten and 3 in first grade, so when they roll over to Lincoln next year, it's a lower caseload, so it gives us a little bit of time to, continue to work on our programming and build our classrooms the way that we want them and programs the way that we feel they should run. At Lincoln, we have 3 resource classrooms. They have different caseloads between 2nd through 4th grade, so they kind of share kiddos. There's 37 kids there. We have 1 cross-cat academic classroom that Mrs. Bittner teaches, and there are 8 kiddos in there. She has 1 2nd grader, she has 2 3rd graders, and 4 4th graders. And then in our cross-cat functional classroom, there are 5 kiddos. We have 1 kinder, 2 first grade, 2 kinder, 2 first grade, and a 3rd grader in those programs. So that's also a smaller classroom that we can really dive in on their disabilities and, make that program what we feel like a functional classroom should look like, with the restructuring. So it's a K to 3rd, which we used to have a K1 at Blackstone, and with the low numbers, we've moved it over to a K3. And then we pushed the 4th grade kiddos over to Northbrook, so there was only 1 this year. So for Northbrook, we have the 3 resource classrooms right now with 48 students actually in there, not 46, because 2 of them share a caseload with another one of our cross-cat teachers. So in our cross-cat academic program, there's 12 students. We have 1 5th grader, 3 6th graders, 4 7th graders, and 4 8th graders. And then in our cross-cat categorical functional classroom, we have 8 kiddos. So we have 1 4th grader, 4 5th graders, 2 6th graders, and a 7th grader.
Can you explain to me, because I
Yeah.
really know I'm not in that world, what the differences are between the 3 levels?
Sure. So resource, they still get pushed into their gen ed setting quite a bit. They may get pulled out for some extra academic support. Usually it tends to be like a half hour, 45 minutes. A few of our kiddos do get pulled out. There is about 1 class per grade level for like core reading and core math. So there's a deficit enough that we feel like they need pull-out services, which is a slide coming up, so we're kind of jumping ahead. But we give them that extra support. We give them the curriculum, but modified, so it's at just a slower pace. We're still exposing them to their grade level content, because they still have to take the IER and all those other tests like their peers. But it's just at that reduced pace and more focused. Our cross-cat academic program is our kiddos that are usually about 2 to 3 grade levels behind standard, like 1 standard deviation below. And they still focus on academics, just at a lower grade level. They may pull in some of those functional skills as they grow older, but it's still a lot more academic based, whereas our cross-cat functional is more like your life skills, your functional. So we're working on, at the lower levels, zipping our coat, knowing our days of the week, going over calendar, knowing our name, and then we build on that as they grow older for like address, phone number, some of those safety issues, understanding functional signs, money instead of maybe like multiplication and things like that. We kind of estimate, and that may look like making a grocery list and estimating what you need to spend, more budgeting type concepts. What else? Reading could be like reading functional signs, so they can go out in public and know how to decipher those things.
Yes.
Yep.
Before you move on,
Yeah.
because that's a huge difference in numbers between kinder and first, is that
Yes.
like different for us this year? Like we identify a lot more than we have, or is it just the bubble, or?
Nope, so we have, I knew I brought my cheat sheet. We had how many moved over, let me find here. One, two, 3, 4. We had 5 move from pre-K over to the resource classroom. We had 1 move in. And then we had 1, 2, 3, 4 new identifications so far this year.
But the kindergarten being at 3, that's
Yes.
an unusually small.
That is
number.
an unusually
Okay.
small, yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
in a typical class, it's about 10.
Correct, yep.
And most of the time, first grade's when you're really identifying them as that they need an IEP.
Sometimes.
Because of the
Yep.
reading, yeah.
Yep. Sometimes we see it more in second grade, so we've seen a couple of second grade referrals this year. That's just one of those outlier classes a little bit, so
Right.
it is unusual, yes. Here's just some of our service providers for each building. So we have an SLP, a speech language pathologist at each building. Amanda Simpson does work with our pre-K, and her and Ellie Jones split Northbrook Middle School. We have a social worker for each program. We have Biz Peruba, who's new. She's one of our occupational therapists through Sprout. So she's new to us this year, and she's amazing. And then we just have, in our pre-K, we have Brenda Isles, the physical therapist assistant. Okay. So changes that we've kind of implemented this year are the instructional strategies and best practices. Kind of like what I already talked about, using that grade level content and modified for our kids, like that are identified as resource, and kind of what that looks like at each building. It was a big push kind of to model the sense that they do still get their grade level content, just with the appropriate accommodations and or the modifications of the slower pace and things like that. So they're still getting that exposure to that content. And that comes with our IER data in the future, hopefully. Behavior management strategies, we've done a lot with that. We've built in debriefing meetings for staff during extreme behavioral incidences. So the principal and or myself will go meet with that colleague, kind of see what they need, talk through, and give them support as they see fit during some of those bigger behavioral incidences that we've seen this year. Data collection tools, we worked a lot with professional development, and Elise Brown and the Focus Consulting and Training. She's a BCBA. So we've brought them in a little bit towards the end of last year, and we've continued to have them on this year. Sarah Petrin is actually from Princeton, so they love coming down here because she sees her family. But she gives instructional support to some of our teachers on how to use some of those adaptive curriculums like Unique. And then Elise provides the behavioral support and training to kind of support our staff. And then we always have our de-escalation training each year to refresh our teachers so that we know how to verbally de-escalate kids and stay as hands-off as possible. So our ELA growth, 2 or 3 years ago, right, we had 6 kids that met or exceeded. We keep building that. That's it's good progress. We went from 6 to 8 students. Then in 23-24 and 24-25, we had 13 kids meet or exceed on IAR out of 102. Math is a little bit slower, but I think we're gonna get there. We had 2 students, then we had 3 students meet or exceed, now we have 5. So we're heading in the right direction, and I think with the push to give them that grade level content, and then kind of using our RTI and study halls to fill those gaps of what they may need, we'll really get those scores to continue to increase. And
Where does that lie with looking at like comparative data? Like, I know 5% of them are meeting or exceeding, but what would we be aiming for? Like, what would be a good percentage
We
for?
can get that data for you.
Yeah.
I don't know that we have that off the top of our head.
Okay.
No, we can get that for you.
And then we have 24 total outplaced students between all these programs. So SOAR is a public school setting for behavioral kids. We have 4 kiddos placed there. Lighted Way is also in Peru. We have 4 kids there. Mental LaSalle, we have 5. Core Academy, we have 1 8th grader. Chance Light, we have 5. Menta Tech is through the Menta group as well, but it's like a homeschooling online therapeutic placement. That's new to us this year. We had a student kind of move in that program, and it's very, when I got to talk to him, it's a very cool program. They still, being in 8th grade, he still switches classrooms. They put him in different classes and he has to switch and maintain for that 5 hours. So it's very neat kind of how they run that in the therapeutic type setting, in a homeschool type setting. And then we have 4 kids at Genoa. So 24 is kind of a lot, and I think our goal is to obviously decrease that, and part of that is, moving forward and how we're gonna build our programs. So continue to provide teachers with professional development and growth opportunities. That may be through our special ed co-op. We have a lot of state grant companies, schools that are doing trainings through like SLD project. There's an autism workshop in April that is brought on by all that ISB grant funded programs, so they have great resources. Continue to grow our resources to create academic and social emotional growth for our students. Decrease our number of outplaced students, which again, I think if we are able to develop our programs the way that they're kind of manufactured in my head right now, we're gonna decrease that and, continue training not only our staff but also our paraprofessionals, because I think they tie in a lot as well. So if we get those classrooms and all that training, I could see our numbers definitely decrease with our outplaced kids, as well as keeping that academic growth blossoming. And then just continue to meet with our problem solving teams, reflect, and improve as our teams see fit. So I meet with our special ed, each building about every other month right now. We would sit there staring at each other if it was every month, but if there's, I'm like, just reach out if there's, anything that we need to meet monthly on, so.
So when you talk about decreasing the number of outplaced students,
Mhm.
I know they're there for all different reasons.
Yeah.
Like, what is your goal for what we're trying to really work on getting back here for, like, more of that behavioral, or more of like, I know we have like a lot of students with autism that are outplaced.
Yep, and they kind of go hand in hand sometimes with behavior and
Mhm.
autism, so I think if we can grow some of those skill bases and how, to de-escalate either verbally or build in those visuals for the students with autism and things like some of those different structured teaching models, I think we can really keep a lot of those students within our district throughout our different programming between the cross-cat academic and the cross-cat functional, or, if we see fit in the resource.
Yeah, it's really just a matter of getting our cross-cat programs as high performing as possible, so that we can eventually, once those students who are outplaced do start to show growth, then we can start transitioning them back.
Yes.
You don't want to send that if it's stable.
Right.
And with behavioral piece, always just diving into that and getting the trauma-based as well as the behavioral point of things, so we can encompass the kid and all their needs, for
And
sure.
we don't anticipate, clearly we don't anticipate they all will do well in a setting like this.
Correct,
But we're
correct.
just hoping to be able to
Yep.
at least bring up closer to our capacity numbers within our cross-cap programming.
Yeah.
That is a definite goal.
How many can we have, based on the pairs that are in those cross-cat rooms? How many could we have
Typically,
in?
we have no more than 10.
Okay.
At least for our functional classrooms, 10 in each. If our numbers get high and our programs escalate, I think it's a programming thing that we may look at, how can we create more, classrooms to bring them back, because we don't wanna outplace, obviously, the student. So,
Right.
yeah, so we could always look at, how that would look in the future, for sure.
Yeah. Having them on campus is a huge goal.
Mhm.
Are our needs similar to others that are our size with our percentages and our numbers? Are we higher, are we lower?
So, just statistically, our needs are higher, are greater. Each of the last several years, when I've gotten data that puts our data in a percentile ranking in the state, which is a great way to look at it, we're usually at about the 80th percentile with number of IEPs. Now, that kind of tracks through with our demographics as well. We're at about the 80th percentile with respect to low income as well. We're at about the 80th percentile, which very often special education and truancy, chronic absenteeism, all those things go hand in hand. So we're at about the 80th percentile for that as well. So our demographics kind of reflect that as well. I don't see us, I think we do a nice job with our MTSS systems, with the supports that we get prior to putting kids in special education, so I really don't feel that we have an over-identification problem. So I think it's just kind of a natural evolution of whoever comes to our door.
I would say from my background that the two districts that I previously worked in that are about this, that Brad always compares us to, we're actually right there. Like, one had more numbers in special ed. I would say the one that I'm currently at is right there, you know, in a different.
Yep.
So it's nothing to be shocked that we have that many outplaced and our IEPs.
If you really stop and think about how important and the reach of all of these programs, just kind of in general terms, basically 1 in 5 of our students across grade levels has an IEP. And if you look at our certified staff and all of our paraprofessionals, about 1/3 of our adults work with IEP students, maybe not all day, but work with them in some capacity. And so putting a lot of effort into trying to make sure these programs are as effective as possible is a huge deal for us.
How do things go? Are we working well with the high school? I know that's been a big goal district-wide, the transition for kids between districts. Is that?
It's funny, and I'll let Kara kind of piggyback on this a little bit, but when she was our coordinator for Elise,
I was also the high school,
Mhm.
so for the past 2 years, I was both.
Yep.
So I work well with Todd. We continue to kind of progress with how that transition works. I know we're meeting with him next week to kind of go over all of that. I would like to continue to take like that half day and have teachers explain the kiddos and get them the right programming that seems fit. But yeah, I think we do a great job trying to bridge that gap, and coming from the role that I did and then now here, I think it's just gonna continue to progress. Yeah.
Well, and he worked in this district before,
Yes,
so.
yeah. He has ties to my motherland of Ottawa, so
Yes.
how big and small a South County can be, so. Yeah. Any other questions?
I guess my last one would be,
Yes.
how do you feel it's going moving the kids all to one space in Lincoln?
I feel like it's going well. You know, with that, we also, like I said, moved one over to Northbrook. We haven't, they're all, I guess, in the sense of like size and ability levels, like it fits and they're great. I think it's going well. Like I said, we could always build our programs, and that's what I look to focus on now, and how we can better support these kiddos. But it's been a good switch. Parents have, you know, been very adaptive to it. A lot of times they have older siblings that go to Lincoln, so it's kind of taken away some of the anxiety of sending your kiddo to school. You know, but if our numbers get high or, you know, things aren't working, I think it's something that we can definitely reflect on and see how we can better support our kiddos, you know, maybe.
the thing that it's allowed us to do is instead of having one cross-cat classroom in Blackstone with kids with a broader range of needs, and then one cross-cat classroom at Lincoln, with that same, now, once we have them together, then now we can separate, and we can have a cross-cat academic classroom, and we can have a cross-cat functional classroom. And so the kids that are in those rooms have needs that are more similar, and then we can better program for them.
It mimics a Northbrook program, so it just kind of made sense to try and do it at the smaller grade levels so that we already have those kids distinguished and their growth is based on, you know, more
Yeah.
focus.
Yeah, and it's something that's always, you know, in flux, and so, you know, if, you know, we were literally talking about this week, you know, and Kara said, well, you know, maybe at some point in time, there might have to be, you know, a cross-cat, you know, room back at Blackstone as well, it just depends on, the kids that we have,
Yeah.
right, and how we can best meet their needs.
After we get this big influx of teachers.
In special ed field?
That's right. Gonna go
Well-
rally the troops.
Well, and of course, and I put in my report, of our 4 or 5 retiring teachers, 2 of them are in special education, and
Yeah.
both of them, you know, will be huge losses, and so, you know, we've been trying to, you know, pipeline people and
Mhm.
use up all of our favors, and so,
That's right.
you know, we're already, we've been making plans for years, it seems like.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yep, thank you.
Welcome.
No, you do not feel like you need to stay.
Okay.
For real. Go home and enjoy your family. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, we did not have any committee reports, and Brad, you didn't have anything else to share on the superintendent?
No, ma'am.
So tentative school calendar.
Yeah, so, providing your packet, looks super similar to this year's. I know that one of the things, talking points that came up earlier in the year, was historically, we've had a full day at Veterans Day. And so there was some conversation about, doing something different moving forward. And when I got, the tentative calendar from Denise at the high school, she had already moved Veterans Day to a half day, and I'm like, okay, I think that's a good move, and so then we'll be able to have some programming in the morning, and we'll be able to do some training in the afternoon, on that. I did, this is just a tentative because we haven't finalized all of the, school improvement half days. So, but get that out there, let everybody see the, nuts and bolts of it, so, you know, they wanna figure out when spring break is, which is the last full week in March, which is awesome, which is when it should be, so, so nice, yeah.
Is it still connected to Easter?
It is, but Denise and I have had a lot of conversations about possibly moving away, to having it always the last full week in March. And then if Easter is separate, they just do a 4-day weekend, so.
We used to, where I grew up, there's always a February vacation, the last week of February, and then a spring break as well. But we started at Labor Day and ended the second week of June in a perfect world, so we started a little bit later, but do you think March is really, really long here sometimes?
Yes.
Amen.
And then if
And
spring
then-
break's late, then you come back and you've got like
2
3
weeks.
weeks, and then you're
Yeah.
And then
done.
you throw your state testing in.
Right, to try to
In
get in
April.
there.
Or late March.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Okay. Go ahead. Motion for that tentative.
I'll make a motion to approve the tentative 2026-2027 school calendar.
Second. Roll call.
Cost,
Yes.
Rapp,
Yes.
Landers,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Caledonia.
Yes. 7.2, you did a lot of work in this.
Yeah, so, just tried to capture all of our conversation, from the last, meeting. And, you know, I, you know, proposed in there, you know, a reimbursement of $15 a month. Not that there aren't different options, but I do know that Blue Cross Blue Shield has, a partnership with Anytime Fitness, which is what we have here in town. We also have a Y, but the Anytime Fitness, the Blue Cross Blue Shield rate is $29. So basically, people who could get it for half off. And so, you know, we'll throw this out there and hopefully we'll get some solid participation. It'll be worthwhile.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the district health insurance participants' physical fitness reimbursement as presented.
Second,
I'll second.
and roll call.
Landers,
Yes.
Haas,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Canitas,
Yes.
Rapp.
Yes.
Summer facility projects.
Yeah, and we don't have a huge amount. This is kind of a down year, and quite honestly, I envision this being our model over the next couple of years. We've done a lot of heavy lifting, and so, I think we're just gonna be kind of selective about what we're doing. If anybody's been down at the end of the 5th grade hall, that carpet down there is awful, and so we're gonna rip that up and we're gonna put tile in there and it'll look great. And then the 1st grade classrooms over at Blackstone, that carpet it's not in as bad a shape, but for whatever reason, even with our HVAC updates, it's hard to keep that wing from being humid, especially in the summer and the early fall. And so humidity and carpet really don't go great together, and so I know everybody's super excited to have that area tiled. And then I can show you next month when we're over there, but the AP room, which if you can envision, sits right next to the Lincoln office, is a huge room, used for some conferences, used for some meetings. We're gonna see if we, in a cost-effective manner, we can divide that room, make the half that's closest to the office a spot where students who need to be near the office can be out of the hallway. It can be kind of more isolated and more controlled, and still have plenty of room on the other side for conference and meetings and that kind of thing. And so, like we've done, over the last couple of years here and there, just to kind of look at the functionality of some spaces and see if we can address that. I also mentioned, our guide through all of this, Scott Ingstrom. He's struck out on his own, so I'm just gonna write the RFP. I'll put it on the state website. We'll see who applies, and we'll go from there.
Okay. Is that a commitment by years when we did it the first time or no?
No,
Okay.
no. So the way the original performance contract works is when we did the original batch of work with GRP Wegman, then every time that we would look at doing something else, then we would have a new amendment
Okay.
to that existing. And so then, so we'll just write a new RFP and roll from there.
Is that summer facility project stuff you're putting like through them for that stuff, or is that just stuff you're managing on your own?
Well, depends on the responses that we get to the RFP. Yep.
And then is like GRP Wegman is still a thing though, right?
They are,
Okay.
for sure.
But we just liked our guy Scott.
Scott's the man.
Yeah, he was.
No, for sure. And.
And he's doing
But-
a similar
And he,
thing now.
yep, he
Oh,
is.
okay.
Yep, he took, one of his engineers that he worked great with and who's actually done a ton of work for us in our buildings. And the two of them kind of struck out and,
It's no different than if you take a teacher, you know what I mean, if an administrator goes to a different district and then take the teacher,
yeah, sometimes you take the people that,
they're global.
yep, for sure, so.
You mentioned the carpet in the 5th grade hall. Is that include, cause there's carpet in some classrooms too? Is it just the hall or is that unique?
I'm sorry, I meant that wing.
That wing, the classrooms?
Specifically the
and that.
classrooms.
Okay,
Is where the
gotcha.
carpet's the worst at, and then we'll retile the hall as well, just to
Okay.
make it, cause that
Yeah.
tile's not in the best shape either. At some point in time, we might, in that 5th grade hall, the tile's in really good shape, but it's all asbestos, it's all original. It's 45-year-old tile,
Yeah.
50-year-old
The
tile.
whole, and everything.
So that small, anytime you see smaller tile, if you see 12-inch tile, it's usually pretty good, but when you see like the smaller, like 7-inch tile, it's probably got asbestos in it. So I know that's got asbestos in it.
That's fun to take out.
Yeah.
Alright. Sounds good. Anything else?
No, ma'am.
Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I was just gonna go back fast.
Yeah.
When, to the conversation before that one, we had mentioned you're trying to plan for years and years and trying to get special and teachers were hoping for an influx. I know that when we had our, in the conference in November, there was one program that they were honing in especially on growing your own.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that we have done a lot of that to a degree, but they were even so far as like paying for the education or finding ways and grants to do that. Have we, I assume, looked into something similar, or have we tried?
So, that's actually been another recent internal topic. We've never really had a formal program where it's, where there have been, where we have like reimbursed or paid people in exchange for, you promised that you will work for us for the first 4 years or something like that. I know a lot of districts have things like that in place, but we have a few staff members who I think could really benefit from that. And so I wouldn't be surprised from your chair if you don't see a proposal from me in the next couple months on something along those lines to try to get some
We have
people
that,
into.
in Oswego called the Next Gen Residency Program, and it's set up for TAs that wanna pursue teaching, and they get to, there is reimbursement for like up to 50% through a grant of their cost for education, but then the more important part of what makes it successful is the fact that they then can continue being a paid TA while they're getting their hours.
Yep.
I know we've done versions of that
Yeah,
before,
they told
kind
a
of
story
ad
that some
hoc.
of the cafeteria women, you know, work
Right.
through the program, and of course a para.
But then even going above that, we also then have programs for teachers to get their master's degree, and then teachers to get endorsements in SPED or Yale, or, and then I think one that's really unique is teachers that wanna pursue admin, excuse me, admin, and I know we're gonna have some significant admin openings, so it may not be a bad idea to talk to any seasoned teachers and figure out whether or not that is of anybody's major interest, and then, cause there is so many grants out there, it may not even have to necessarily be an experience we, bless you, we
Thank you.
take on, but if it's more of the time that they feel like they appreciate, because they can't quit their job to go do it, so
Yeah.
Yes.
that training
When I
time is the
student
big
taught, I had to
piece.
quit my job.
Right, and that's
So
what
do I.
opens opportunities for people, is especially people later in life who are coming at it with a second degree, or second, career.
That need that.
Yeah, that income,
No, for
so
sure.
I think it'd be,
I think there's a lot of districts
At
in
all
the area
levels.
that are.
I think it'd be interesting. And we could potentially look at even talking to a couple other, the small districts in the area, and maybe almost like co-op type of program together too. Like a cohort.
Yeah, cohorts are good, for sure.
Cool.
I have two random questions that are not related to anything on here, but I didn't know if I should like, if they're like meeting worthy or they're just small, like little questions.
Sure.
Well, I was gonna ask about the board book thing that we have, like how much we are like using it, paying for it, kind of thing, like I just don't want us to be paying for something that we thought we were gonna use in a greater capacity, maybe we aren't, or maybe it is really good, or
$2,000 a year that.
I think it's about $3,000, if I remember.
like total.
Per year.
Okay,
Yeah, that's
We
what I was
we
thinking.
upload the agenda right now, and I'm about to show Erica how to upload of everything else.
But
okay.
it is where you're storing for public
Yes.
view all of our documents, all of our minutes and our.
Cause I just didn't know, like, since we're still getting everything like in emails and we're not really using it here at the meetings, like I didn't know if we're wasting its capability and we're paying and don't really need it if we can use
So,
something else.
so I would agree, I don't think we're using it at its full potential, but also because, a lot of like, of the centralization pieces, like Tracy was just talking about, I still think that we get our value out of it.
Okay. Well, then that's
Maybe
good.
at some point, one of your like community-wide updates could talk about that, because I don't know that a lot of people realize the transparency that's built in by having a tool like that,
Yeah.
and how easy it is to use it to find
Mhm.
information.
You bet.
you had a question?
My other question was, I was just curious, cause I don't know like what all is sometimes purchased, but I noticed, that like Blackstone had like a really big amount spent last month for like the Pride, it was like $7,000, whereas usually they're a lot smaller amounts, so I didn't know what was so big in 1 month for like
So
Blackstone
they didn't
Pride.
purchase anything, they had a fundraiser, then they distributed the funds to their schools. So it was
Yeah.
just a transfer to Lincoln Pride and Lincoln Pride,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it came from,
Blackstone Pride. So Blackstone Pride was holding all the revenue, and then once the fundraiser's done, then they divide the
Distribute.
profits.
okay. Makes sense, thank you.
Yeah.
I was
bet.
just like,
You
what
bet.
did we
Well,
do
yeah.
for Christmas
Yeah.
that was
So
so expensive?
really
Okay.
good.
And you can always just email us those questions.
Yeah,
so
I didn't know, I wasn't sure,
Yeah.
so.
Whatever you need,
Okay.
for sure.
Alright, so could we have our motion to adjourn at 7:15?
I'll make a motion to adjourn at 7:15.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?